Hey everybody, welcome to Out on Films in Conversations with Series. My name is Craig Hardesty, and I am really pleased today to be talking to the director of Houb, Shariff Nasr. Shariff, welcome to Out on Film. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
So, Shariff, you have brought to the festival what I think is a really parts of it are fun, parts of it are like, what's going on here, but a really good kind of family drama about Kareem, who is kind of forced out to come out to his family and literally goes into a closet.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit, Shariff, how did the story develop for you, and what kind of brought you to tell this story at this time?
Well, yeah, actually, the story started when I was with family in the Middle East, and they were also loving and caring, giving me the best food, etc. And after a while, I was just thinking, what would happen if I would feel attracted to men? Would these loving people still love me the same? And I believe they would, but it would cause a lot of trouble probably. But when it comes to the way I see the people from the MENA culture, so Middle East and North African, and when it comes to the LGBTQ stories we see, it's always either you choose your family or you choose your sexuality. Right. And I thought, but what if you want both? What if you want to combine that? And then that was the kickoff of this film.
And really, it's about family. It's about community. The family is set in a community and trying to be both public and private, and people trying to figure out what's going on in the house.
Yeah.
So tell a little bit about kind of bringing all of this together around family and community, centered around this one event.
Yeah. Well, it was actually it's the whole thing with community. It's nice, it's loving, you have all these people caring for you, but it also has a how do you say we say it's a double-sided.
Yes, a double-edged sword.
Yeah. And so from one hand you see that I don't want to spoil too much in the film, right, that the people around it think there is something wrong in the house and have their own ideas about it, and they try to help them. So you see the good side of that, but the bad side is like you can never be left alone because right, everyone is watching you.
Right.
So it has a good side and a bad side. So it's all about love, and that's what the film is about.
Well, and it really is. I mean, it centers on the love of family, that even though in this moment they're reacting badly to Kareem's coming out, they still love him. His mother is still feeding him. He's locked himself in a closet. They're fighting, they're loving, but they're taking care of each other at the same time.
Yeah. That's also something you always see. Like if you talk one-on-one with a lot of people from the Arab community, a lot of the people say, oh, I don't have any problem with it. Oh no, I don't. It's always the others. And then I thought, well, but what if you talk to everyone separately? Who is the others?
Right.
So that's also what the story is about, like going deeper and deeper and deeper, like an onion that you're peeling. You come and see a new layer and a new layer, and that's what we tried to do with the whole structure of the film. That it's like a psychological puzzle actually, and you get to know every side of the story, and that it's not as black as white as we always see in the media, because we're all human beings. And I think in the 60s it was the same in the whole Western world, that like we also need to have the conversation.
It's having the conversation, and one of the things I think that I felt when I watched this the first time is, like you said, it's not just kind of cut dry or black and white. It's not either or. It really shows that families can be messy. um, loving that everybody comes on this journey, in trying to come either to terms with Kareem's coming out or his place in the family, or that, like you said, it's not an either or. He wants his family and he wants to be out. And so there's like this whole, you get to see the entire family in all of their humanity and messiness.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is
That's
really, we don't always get to see that. So kind of, how did that kind of weave into your story? Just making sure that everybody was able to be seen.
well, it was actually in the whole research. I wanted to understand all the sides. Why do people have problems with it? And like for a part, there's always the religious aspect, but that's not the part that we wanted to touch, because when it comes to religion, that's more black and
Right,
white, because
right.
these are the rules and you have to deal with that. But yeah, if you go deeper, but what do you think, what do you feel? And I'm still your son. And so that side, we wanted to show every aspect of it, because you can make a movie and just try to kick in doors, but then you don't have a dialogue.
Right.
So I wanted to understand every part, every side of the story, and I wanted to put that in the film as well, because the film is about love, as the title says. Yeah, and if we want to come to a term of acceptance, then everyone needs to understand it.
Yeah, I mean, and it's coming to terms with, there seems to be in the family, what does it mean, as we present to the outside world in our community, and how is this revelation going to shape our place in the
Yeah.
community? And a lot of it is, what will people think?
Yeah, that's always the problem, especially because, yeah, we don't talk about it. And if you
Right.
don't talk about it, then you never know what people will say. That's the whole problem with what will people say if we don't talk.
And one of the things that was kind of really, I found delightful, is, the whole kind of tension between the family, that there's the community wanting to help because they think there's a problem, so everybody's bringing things and trying to help them, and then there's like the shame of like, we don't need help, and why do you think we need help? And there's like this really lovely tension between people trying to help them, you know and then there's almost a little bit of a stigma to being helped.
Yeah.
um, a proudness, but tell us a little bit about that tension, because it kind of weaves very nicely through the narrative.
Uh, yeah, it's all about keeping up appearances. But if you try to keep up appearances and you don't talk, then people will have their own biases, their own ideas, and that's what's happening there. And it becomes sort of a snowball effect. It becomes bigger and bigger and bigger, and then the choice is like, are we going to be honest, or are we going on with this lie and try to keep that down? But after a while, you cannot do that anymore. And we also wanted to give Kareem something to push to a moment of how long can you keep up these lies and keeping up appearances? Like, when are we finally going to talk?
Right. Well,
Yeah.
speaking of which, with Kareem and the cast, you put together a really terrific ensemble. um, of his family. Tell us a little bit about how you found them, how they came to this project, and came together as a really strong ensemble.
Oh, yeah, thank you. By the way, do you hear a buzzing noise or not?
Yeah,
Just
we're good.
okay, so I just hear it. Then it's good.
Okay.
Um, No, yeah, like when it comes to the part of Kareem, I work with Fad Larzawi right from the start. Actually, I got to know him via a well-known actor with who I was befriended, um, the one who actually plays Sufyan in the film. I was talking with him about this idea that I had, and like, would you want to talk about it? And then after a while, he said, "But you have to talk to Fed." And I was like, "But why do I need to talk with Fed?" He said, "Like, you don't know?" I was like, "Oh, he's gay. Oh, I didn't know." So then it was like, "Oh yeah, then I need to talk with him." And actually, then it really started rolling because we went and yeah, we were just sitting outside having drinks and talk about the script, and the whole story got started. And he was also busy with a play about him coming out to his family in the past and about all the struggles. And he said, "I don't want this film to be about me." We said, no, this is going to be a new story, but we'll probably have influence from your life. But that started. So, and when I saw him in the play, I knew, okay, he got the part. It was amazing and very open and vulnerable. So I thought, okay, that was Kareem, that we knew for sure. And then during the process, we were the hardest part was finding the parents,
Right.
because in the Netherlands we do have a couple of Moroccan actors in elderly actor, or at least in the range that could be the father and mother of Kareem, but they all never reached that part of acting that I wanted to find. So then we started looking outside of the Netherlands, and or if we found them, they were not Moroccan, because I had one, but then you need to do the whole accent.
Right.
So then I saw Lubna Azabal in a movie called Adam, and she was amazing, but I knew like, but she's a bit younger, but we can try. And then we met, and I thought, oh my God, she's 47 only. It could be the sister almost of Fed. So I was like, oh, how are we gonna do this? And she said, well, we can work with a little bit of makeup, and I'll do everything in my power to make her older. And well, she really rocked it. She really
Yeah.
amazed me on the set. Every time when she started walking, and just she was the mother.
Right.
And well, she's a very young and very energetic woman. So that's amazing. She really dove into it. Then for Slimane, well, he was already amazing. So in a lot of films, and I thought like the camera really loves him. So it's like, okay, but he is Algerian actually, and he lives in France. So it was like, so we cannot let him talk Dutch because that's not his native language, and in Algerian. So we had to work with a dialogue coach to really get to the Moroccan Arabic. And he really studied hard, and like, because I didn't want to have a movie where Moroccan people would be like, yeah, but you hear that he's not Moroccan.
Right.
So he really worked on that accent. So that was great on the language. And so then we had that. And for the brother, I actually worked with this Sabri, who was playing the brother, on another thing. And that was a comedy thing. And then I thought, because when I saw him, he always has this aggressive face. But when he smiles, he really opens up. So I already knew, like, I think he is the one. So he's terrific for the part. So we actually did just a couple of castings, but I was already like, no, it's Sabri. He needs to be the brother. Especially when I saw them together, I was like, okay. So yeah, that was the main cast. And then the main cast. And then for the love interest, at first we actually had a Eastern European a character in the script, but we were looking everywhere, and also we want them to be from outside the Netherlands. So we wanted them to that you could hear that they are not that they haven't been in the Netherlands for a long time. So so we were also looking in Romania, and so, but a lot of people didn't want to play the part because there is still image, and like a lot of the men there are still in the really patriarchal and a lot of the casting agencies also said, we really need a movie like this here as well. So I was like, oh yeah, I think you do, because even we had a couple of actors that I saw in movies. It was like they are great, but they were like, no, I won't play that part.
Right.
And then we thought, okay, then maybe we should find it in another region, like in Ghana or like Nigeria, that at least as a viewer, you don't have to explain everything. You know already this
Right.
person had the same struggle, so that Karim can recognize himself. Doesn't mean that in other countries you have the same, like even in the
Right.
Netherlands, but you didn't want to have need dialogues about it. So we thought, I think it's also good to, and it's good to address another part that also still faces the same trouble of not talking about it. And then we had, yeah, actually, Fed said you should talk to Emmanuel Boafo, and I was like, oh yeah, we could try, but and I said I want also to, because I told him I want him to speak great English, but with an accent, but just that you feel he doesn't live in the Netherlands, but he came here. But I didn't want it to be in, that we play with accents or that it
Right.
feels fake, but just that you believe he just is living for 2 years in the
Right.
Netherlands as well, but that he is, but his English should still be great. uh, yeah, because you don't want, yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
Before we get into, you see that a lot, that people then also start talking in accents and bad English. We just want
Right.
to bring the whole backstory, but not the rest. And he rocked it. He really nailed it. Yeah, Emmanuel was amazing, because actually when he speaks, he can speak fluently American English. He's like really great in that. And so he had to switch to a accent, but he was wonderful. And also because he had, and then while shooting he said, I think I'm also the first actor from Ghana playing a part like this. He said, at least in a mainstream, or not mainstream, but like
Right.
a big film. He said, at least I've never seen a character from Ghana playing a gay character. And was like, oh.
Oh.
So he said, this is actually a big thing for me too now, because yeah. So I'm also very curious how his community will react, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So as
So
you as you've kind of put the film out there, how has the reaction been?
well, in the Netherlands, it didn't. It's going to premiere on the 10th of October.
Okay.
So I've never shown it to a Dutch audience, only
Okay.
to the cast and crew, but they always look, of course, in a different way. They always
Right.
look at how is the clothing, are they, and how is my art direction, and so that. But we had our world premiere was in San Francisco at Frameline, and um, the reactions there were amazing. It was so beautiful in the Castro Theater. Like you felt also that there were a lot of people that had the same struggle, that recognized the struggle of Karim. So from the start, they laughed out loud and they really understood the comedy. And in the end at the end of the film, when we were outside, there was a Moroccan American a man coming to us, and he said, is it going to be screened in America? And we said, yeah, it's going to be in cinema after the festivals somewhere, don't know when, but it will
Right.
be out in San Francisco, LA, and hopefully in the rest of America as well. And then he said, okay, great, because I'm going to take my parents to the film then, and that will be my coming out to them.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And for me, that was like the biggest compliment you can get, like that your film tells everything that he never dared to say to his parents. So
It's a
yeah,
beautiful moment.
yeah, that was a very
It's a
beautiful
beautiful moment.
moment. Yeah, yeah, and
And
this is actually the time that it really starts. So also, at your festival, we're really curious how everyone will react, and please let me know, let us know what everyone thinks. Yeah.
I mean, I was in that Frameline audience.
Oh,
when it premiered, and I you know, when we were thinking about bringing the film here, you know, I think our audience is going to have a lot of the same reaction, because it is, you know, about a, you know, a family, you know, in the Netherlands, you know, Dutch Moroccan family, but there's a lot of families that are still,
Yeah.
I think that no matter where you are, you know, as a, you know, LGBTQ person in family, there's always that negotiation. And I think that, you know, I think that I'd be curious, but I think audiences will react in the same, because it's really, it's poignant, it's funny, you know, they fight, they love, and it's like we all do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It should be a universal love
Yeah.
story and a universal family story.
So,
Yeah.
well, Sharif, I appreciate you being able to take the time to talk with us and our audience. The film is El Houb, and it is playing at Out on Film. If you go to outonfilm.org, we have the full schedule. And Sharif, we wish you a lot of success with this film. It's a great film, and we're very excited to be showing it. So congratulations, and thank you for sharing it and this story with all of us.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And well, everyone can always reach out, and please spread the love, spread El Hope, and have a great festival.
Thank you. And thank all of you for joining us for this conversation. There'll be this and many more as we get through the festival. So be sure to follow us and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and go to Out on Film and check out all the great films that we have throughout the festival. Thank you all very much. And Sharif, thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.